Alrighty, guys, we are live. We're live. It is your cousin Dustin. No. Let's go. Alrighty, here we go. So it is March 11th, 2026. Here we go. We are going to run through the markets as we do. It's your cousin Dustin. Like and subscribe if you like the content. You know, life's been lifing. I will be back on schedule soon. But for now, we are attacking as we can. Okay. All right, so check it out. Let's run through these markets. Let's just look at the heat map for a second. We've got Nvidia up 0.68%. Retail trade seems to be down. We've got Amazon down 0.78%. Walmart down 1.3%. This is after hours. It's 8:17 p.m. right now. So this is on the day overall. Oracle's up 9.18%. Big day for Oracle. Intel's up 2.57%. Okay. Mm. 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 Okay. Apple's not much change, down 0.01%. Google's up 0.54%. So, what's going on here? Hmm. See, that's what's really been going on. My computer and internet and stuff have been messing up on me all week, screwing me up. That's okay. We'll get it together. So, Dow Jones is sitting at 47,417.27, down 0.61% today. S&P 500 is at 6,775.8, down 0.08%. The Nasdaq's up 0.08% to 22,716.14. Okay. See, Google Finance is not working. I think this is pissing me off. My internet, my laptop, something. It was working good there for a while, but now it's starting to screw up. So here we go. We got on to the crypto markets. We've got Bitcoin sitting at $70,244, $235.17 a coin. $70,253.44 a coin. So it's moving. It's oscillating a little bit. Ethereum is sitting at $2,053.60 a coin. Look at Polymarket for a second here. I'm sure they've got some wild stuff going on. going to try to stay away from the politics for the most part. I think everybody knows what's going on. It's not very... It's a pretty wacky time out there. It's not... not for me to comment on. Largest company, end of March. Nvidia or Apple? It's probably going to be Nvidia. What will gold hit by the end of June? 5,500 or 5,700? These are kind of boring to me. Okay. Let's have a look at silver. Silver is down almost 1%, 0.99% on the day at $84.69. Over the past 5 days, it's up 2.22%. Past 1 month, it's up 1.13%. Past 6 months, it's up 101.34%. Year to date, it's up 20.21%. On a 1-year chart, it's up 156.03%. And you can see the chart starting to form. On a 5-year chart, it's up 227.58%. All time, it's up 151.12%, which doesn't really make much sense. But it's okay. Very cool. Let's read an article real quick. Dow falls to lowest close this year after oil's latest climb. That's 3 hours ago. All right. Let's read it. Let's see. Dow falls to Dowell. Dow falls to lowest close this year after oil's latest climb. Brent crude prices rise on news of mines in the Strait of Hormuz and reports that nearby cargo ships were struck. Of course. By Heather Gillers. All right. The Dow Jones Industrial Average ended Wednesday at its lowest close of the year, dragged down by a new climb in oil prices that threatened to hold fuel costs at painful levels for many U.S. companies and consumers. Futures for Brent crude, the global benchmark, rose 4.8% to trade at around $92 a barrel. Unbowed by an announcement from the International Energy Agency that its members countries will release a record 400 million barrels of oil from strategic reserves. Okay, I like this article already. It's actually given something interesting. We're going to read that again. Futures for Brent crude. The global benchmark rose 4.8% to trade at around $92 a barrel, unbowed by an announcement from the International Energy Agency that its member countries will release a record 400 million barrels of oil from strategic reserves. Fascinating. Fears over disruptions to energy flows in the Middle East flared up again on Wednesday, with U.S. officials saying Iran has placed mines in the Strait of Hormuz and the UK reporting that 3 cargo ships were hit by projectiles near the key waterway. President Trump's comments earlier this week about the possibility of a quick victory faded from memory. All right, lady. It looks to me like investors are discounting what the president has to say about the direction of the war and are now focused on the duration of it, said Joseph Brusalis, chief economist at RSM. And they got a little graphic. Cool. That's how they get you. Dang it. I'm sure they're not going to say anything too crazy. We get it. The war, so the strait and the bombs and the mines and the bombing, it's causing a problem with the oil. Everybody knows. Everybody gets it. There's got to be more. There's got to be more. There's got to be something to it that we can figure out. Let's see this one. The theme is going to be oil and AI for the next while here. Guys, if anybody ends up watching this and you want me to deep dive into a stock, let me know. That's kind of something I like to do. So I'll do it. If you give me one to look at. Dow Jones futures fall. Here we go. Back to let's read this article. Dow Jones futures fall as oil prices run past $90. Oracle and Nvidia lift these AI names. This is by Ed Carson. Yeah, this is by Ed Carson. Dow Jones futures fell solidly overnight along with S&P 500 futures and NASDAQ futures, with crude oil prices jumping Whoa. What is going on? So look at that. Okay. Alright. Dow Jones futures fell solidly overnight along with S&P 500 futures and NASDAQ futures, with crude oil prices jumping, extending Wednesday's regular session gains. The stock market was narrowly mixed as oil prices rose, even as the International Energy Agency proposed a record reserves release from member nations. AI stocks had another solid performance, buoyed by strong Oracle earnings and guidance, as well as NVIDIA investment in cloud computing provider Nebius. Nebius stock flashed a buy signal Wednesday. NVIDIA chipmaker, Taiwan semiconductor manufacturing, server, and storage giant Dell Technologies, as well as memory players Western Digital and Seagate Technology, are actionable, or nearly so. NVIDIA stock and Taiwan Semiconductor are on leaderboard, with Dell on the leaderboard watch list. Taiwan Semiconductor stock is on the IBD 50. Dow Jones futures today. Dow Jones futures declined 1% versus fair value. S&P 500 futures lost 0.9% and NASDAQ 100 futures fell 0.9%. Futures retreated largely as oil prices kept running overnight. Also, the Trump administration launched Section 301 trade probes of Mexico, China, the European Union, and other trading partners. It's a step toward imposing new duties to replace the Trump tariffs struck down by the Supreme Court last month. The 10-year Treasury yield kept rising to 4.25%. Remember that overnight action in Dow futures and elsewhere doesn't necessarily translate into actual trading in the next regular stock market session. Crude oil prices rise despite reserves release. Crude oil futures rose sharply overnight to nearly $94 a barrel. That's after jumping 4.55% to $87.25 a barrel in Wednesday's regular session. There were reports Wednesday night, New York Times, that multiple oil tankers have been hit in Iraqi territorial waters. Yeah. I mean, all that cost is going to get passed on to the companies and then eventually onto the consumer. So it's like that's what's causing a lot of volatility right now. The IEA proposed that member nations release 400 million barrels of crude and petroleum products from reserves, more than double the previous record release. As part of that move, the U.S. will release 172 million barrels of crude, but the news had been expected. Keep in mind that oil prices had tumbled from near $120 Sunday night as the reserves release buzz first appeared. Still releasing reserves will provide temporary relief on global supplies, but the Strait of Hormuz still needs to open soon to prevent further production shutdowns and widespread global shortages, with huge economic implications. They need to open that strait. Yeah. It's gonna be tough, you know. Stock market rally attempt. For a second straight session, the NASDAQ eked out a slim gain while the other key indexes fell slight to modestly. The Dow Jones Industrial Average fell 0.6% in Wednesday's stock market trading. The S&P 500 index dipped 0.1% and the NASDAQ Composite edged up 0.1%, both hitting resistance at their 21-day lines. The small cap Russell 2000 declined 0.2%. The Invesco S&P 500 Equal Weight ETF fell 0.3%, dropping a little further from its 50-day line. Wednesday marked day 3 of a stock market rally attempt, so a follow-through day could come as soon as Thursday, confirming the rally. But with the market making big up and down swings, a FTD could happen without really breaking the sideways pattern. The 10-year Treasury yield leapt 7 basis points to 4.71%, the highest close in more than a month. Among growth ETFs, the iShares Expanded Tech Software Sector ETF edged up 0.1%, with Oracle a notable holding. The Van Eck Vector Semiconductors ETF climbed 0.9%. NVIDIA and Taiwan Semiconductors are huge SMH positions. ARC Innovation ETF gained 0.25%, and ARC Genomics ETF declined 0.9%. SPDR S&P Metals and Mining ETF rose 0.7%. The Energy Select Spider ETF popped 2.5%, and the Healthcare Select Spider Fund dipped 0.2%. The Industrial Select Spider Fund declined 0.3%. The Financial Select Spider ETF fell 0.8%. Oracle and NVIDIA AI news. Oracle stock jumped 9.2% as stock earnings as strong earnings and guidance eased fears about its leveraged AI data center bets. Oracle stock, still in a sharp downtrend, hit resistance at its 50-day line. NVIDIA will invest $2 billion in cloud computing play Nebius. It's the latest in a series of circular deals in which the AI giant buys a stake in companies which in turn buy NVIDIA gear. NVIDIA stock edged up 0.7% to 186, just clearing its 50-day line. NVIDIA stock has a $212.19 consolidation buy point. According to Market Surge, investors could use $197.63 as an early entry. Nebius stock shot up 16.5% to $112, clearing short-term highs within a deep consolidation, offering an aggressive entry. Other data center providers also rallied. NVIDIA holds its annual GTC event, formerly called GPU Technology Conference, next week, with CEO Jensen Huang set to give a keynote address on Monday. Micron earnings are due March 18th, with big implications for memory plays especially, but also for chips and AI in general, or generally. Other AI stocks. Sorry, guys. Other AI stocks. Taiwan Semiconductor stock climbed 2.15% to $354.56, moving further off its 50-day line, but hitting resistance at its 21-day line. Seagate stock edged up 0.4% to $385.97, hitting resistance at its 21-day line for a second straight session. The hard drive maker reclaimed its 50-day line on Monday. Seagate rival Western Digital gained 1% to 268.81, moving off its 21-day line. Investors could use the 21-day as an entry from the 50-day line, or Tuesday's intraday high of $280.75. WDC stock still has a 3 week's tight entry of 309.90. This is the stock, guys. This is not my advice. I don't do it like that. I don't know if that makes any sense, but that's not. I don't know. I guess I'm more of like a long-term person. I just think if you like a stock, just start buying it and freaking buy it more if it goes down, you know. Usually it's worked out okay for me, I guess. So far, so good, you know. Dell stock rose 2.5% to 147.38, working on a $153.72. Ooh, God. About time to go to bed. Working on a $153.72 buy point from a cup with handle base. Shares broke the downtrend of the handle with Wednesday's high of $149.47, now serving as an early entry. The handle formed following Dell's post-earnings jump at the end of February. What to do now? While the Iran war has created volatility and headlines, the stock market hasn't been able to sustain any kind of upside momentum for several months. AI stocks have had a good week, but sector moves also haven't lasted. Nvidia and Micron news reports next week loom large. Choppy markets chop up investors rather than force the issue. Investors should largely be in cash, patiently preparing for the next market rally. Read the big picture every day to stay in sync with the market direction and leading stocks and sectors. Who wrote this? Ed Carson. That's according to Ed Carson. I rather like that article, if I'm being honest. Thought that was a good article. Let's have a look at some of our favorite stocks. Nvidia is sitting at $186 right now. Interesting. Today it's up 0.66%. On a 5-day chart, it's up 3.44%. 1 month chart, it's down 2.13%. Over the past 6 months, it's up 4.98%. Year to date, it's down 0.27%. On a 1-year chart, it's up 71.02%. 5-year chart, it's up 1,346.32%. On a maximum chart, Nvidia is up $464,892 0.5%. Ugh. There we go. Good grief. Their current PE ratio is 37.97. Very interesting to me. Check out AMD. Okay, so AMD sitting at 204 right now. So here we go. AMD sitting at 204.83, up 0.79% on the day. Over the past 5 days, it's up 3.55%. Over the past 1 month, it's down 4.1%. Over the past 6 months, it's up Over the past 6 months, it's up 31.58%. Over the year to date, it's down 4.36%. Over the past year, it's up 111.69%. Over the past 5 years, it's up 152.72%. On a maximum chart, it's up 1,251%. They've got a PE ratio of 78.5, 52-week high of 267.08, and a 52-week low of 76.48. An EPS of $2.61. Interesting. Let's do Oracle. Now check out Oracle. It's sitting at $163.12. It's up 9.18% today. Over the past 5 days, it's up 6.67%. Over the past month, it's up 3.79%. Over the past 6 months, it's down 47%. Year to date, it's down 16.31%. Over the past year, it's up 13.14%. Over the past 5 years, it's up 142.88%. On a maximum chart, Oracle is up 232,928.57%. Okay. And they have a PE ratio of 29.28, 52-week high of 345.72, a 52-week low of $118.86, and an EPS of $5.57. Dang. Let's look at Matter. Meta platforms. So, here we go. Meta sitting at 654.86. On a 1-day chart, it's up 0.12%. On a 5-day chart, it's up 1.15%. On a 1-month chart, it's down 2.07%. On a 6-month chart, it's down 12.79%. Year to date, it's down 0.79%. On a 1-year chart, it's up 8.11%. 5-year chart, it is up 143.99%. And on a maximum chart, it's up 1,612.95%. Meta has a PE ratio of 22.63, a 52-week high of $796.25, and a 52-week low of $479.80. It has an EPS of $28.94 with 2.19 billion shares outstanding and 79,000 employees. A lot of news about Meta right now. They've released a big spending package. They got COO olive oil sells $987,000 in stock. Hmm. A lot of stuff going on. Interesting. PE ratio is pretty low compared to its peers, but you never know. You really never know. But guys, I gotta go. I gotta get ready to go. Let's look at Bitcoin one more time. Alright. I think that's gonna do it for me, guys. Nothing really too crazy is going on, you know? Despite the global shakeups and stuff. I'll tell you this. Look back at your history books, at your charts of times when there's like wars and stuff like that. Stock market doesn't always go down. It's not a death sentence in that way. There's money to be made and plays to trade, you know. Yeah, money to be made and stocks to trade. Other stuff to trade too. You know, trade some cryptos, bet on some damn poly markets, and make a bet on some kind of bet on UFC fight if you want to. Do something. I guess the reality of, modern times, whatever it is, 2026, it's like, man, if you ain't doing something, you might as well be doing something. For real. Like, your money's like losing its value as you hold it, you know? That's the thing. That's the real truth, I guess. It's a mess. It's a mess, I guess. All right, here we go though. Yeah. It's your cousin Dustin signing off. That's enough. We've done it. We've